there's been a lot of interesting topics that have been brought to our attention. One is inward-facing cameras of a driver. Is an inward-facing camera 24/7 an invasion of privacy?
No. Well, I mean, maybe, but this is your workplace. Employers have a right to make bad decisions, to have an environment, workplace that you don't like, so long as it doesn't violate a specific employment. In every state of this country, with the exception, I think, of Montana, we have equal employment, which means they get to make the rules short of violating a specific law passed by state or Congress. And I'm not aware of any law. This is your workplace. I mean, I don't like it. I could see where a driver wouldn't want to work for that, but the courts are not HR departments for companies. So I would say, yeah, no, it's not an invasion. It's their truck.
What if it's not a right to work state?
A right to work state means you can't be compelled to join a union. Okay? You mean in an at-will employment
Yes.
state? Well, there's only one of those, and that's Montana.
Exactly.
So I don't know what Montana law. And Montana has, it's sort of like your at-will employment for a certain amount of time, and after that, you no longer are. They have to have cause. So, no, I mean that, I don't like it, and I can see where drivers wouldn't like it, but this is their truck. They have the right to put a camera in it. UPS monitors everything. They got cameras everywhere. I don't think they got them in the bathroom.
Let's kind of attack it from an over-the-road driver standpoint with the sleeper berth, because we've got brains enough that if we address the more difficult of the two, a sleeper berth day cab. So I've got a sleeper berth. Now, if I'm an employer, I cannot have cameras in the bathrooms, but I can have a camera outside the bathroom door. I cannot have a camera in a changing room, but I can have cameras outside the door again. And that way, if somebody's carrying goods in or they bringing goods out, or they steal it, there's all kinds of reasons, but there's that line of privacy there. Now, I've had drivers say, oh yeah, the rear-facing, and I'm not anti-rear-facing camera, by the way. The rear-facing camera, the light comes on, well, close your curtains. They don't provide me curtains in the truck to close, you see? So that does a red bell up. So my way of thinking, and you're right, I like what you said, is drivers are, it's your home away from home. No, this is a workplace. This is your workstation. No different than having a restaurant with bathrooms, This is what they're brainwashed to believe. You're not at work.
What's the question?
Casey Phillips submitted one along this line, so maybe this is from Mike. That says inward-facing cameras. What is a company-owned equipment right, and what is the driver's legal right to decline a truck with this equipment?
Driver has a perfect legal right to decline the truck with that equipment. And when he does that, the employer has a perfectly legal right to fire him for declining the equipment. You agree? Yes.
Okay, so, but drivers are paid by the mile. Therefore, let's look at it this way. If I'm driving, I'm being paid, the camera can be on. But once the truck stops, shouldn't the camera go off? I'm no longer being paid. Why are you supervising?
You're in their vehicle. You're in their vehicle. Don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating that they do this or that you work for companies that do this, but it's their vehicle.
So the drivers, and like I say, I'm not anti-rear facing. Drivers have
Well,
this
I am,
attitude,
but
that's
I
my
mean,
home
if
away
I was a
from
driver, I
home,
would drive for
blah, blah, blah.
someone.
Who are they? That's my space, this, that, and the other.
Do you-
And like you say, it's a company vehicle. So what about a team truck? Well, obviously it can run non-stop. What we're told about these cameras, and this is all a scam, it goes to a third party, it's got to have a triggering event, da-da-da-da. But these carriers are getting where they can turn the cameras on at will. And if the driver's on their 10-hour break, they feel like it shouldn't come on. You see?
Okay, all right.
But if you're behind the curtain in your sleeper berth, what's the problem?
Well, okay. Well, first of all, if people don't, I don't care sometimes, if I give I try to give straight answers on the law, both on my Facebook page and wherever I go, all right? And whether people like how I see the law or like the law is not, that, if they say, well, it shouldn't be that way, yeah, well, maybe you're right, okay? Let me clear up one thing. One, Sleeper berth is not considered a home.
No.
All right? Courts have been unanimous on that. So when it comes to search and seizure law and things like that, tough bounds. You don't get it. Should it be that considered that way? Yeah. I disagree with the Supreme Court, but I'm not them. I mean, they haven't gone to the level of sleeper berths. They talk about motorhomes or not on the road, okay? So I think that probably that same analogy would also apply to, commercial vehicles. And so should they do something? Sure. Yeah, they should. But I mean, to a certain extent, drivers got to quit working for crappy companies. I mean, we have lots of things to bitch about, lots of things I don't like about. I get calls from potential clients, probably 5 or 6 every day. And I talk to everyone just about for at least 6, 7 minutes, Bluetooth walking around in the car. And maybe every 10 drivers who call me, there's one case. Maybe not even that good. And I'll talk to them. And, it's just amazing. Usually it's a bitch about a workplace thing. Or I signed a lease purchase and I haven't made a paycheck in 15 weeks and I'm in the hole. I mean, the courts aren't there to protect us from our bad business decisions, and they're not there to play HR department. So when it comes to sleeper berths, and by the way, the advice we're given is general. There could be individual laws or circumstances that I don't know about here. So, if there's a specific issue, call me. I'll probably want more details.
So I've got a male-female training team. Either one can be first seat. With a rear-facing camera, now you have documentation. If both people go behind the curtain and close the curtain, it's consensual. But other than that, you have it on camera. She's in the sleeper, changing clothes, swap out. Isn't that one way of looking at it?
Sure, it's one way.
So in other words, they could be beneficial in that type of a situation. Now, while we're there,
hold on, there might be other people have questions.
I want to just make 2 quick points about that. First, there are many different employment settings which are what sort of regulated environments where cameras do exist. I had a misclassification case of a woman who worked for Armored Truck Company, and she was counting the cash and stuffing the bags and all that. There's cameras in that company where the cash is coming in. They fill the ATMs all over. You better believe there's cameras everywhere because they want to make sure that the employees are not putting a packet of cash in their pocket when they're putting stuff, filling the bags. And there are many other kinds of companies in which, for security reasons, there's cameras everywhere. Here's the key. Reasonable expectation of privacy. The standard is, when someone wants to bring a claim for invasion of privacy, does that person have a reasonable expectation of privacy? There's a famous case out of Chicago. I think it was Marshall's, the store, the department store, right? Marshall Field, there it is. Where a woman was changing in a changing room in Marshall Fields, and there was some employee who had drilled a hole in the wall and was like a peeping Tom through the wall. She sued, and what were the damages? Emotional distress, but there was a big award. Why? Because she had a reasonable expectation of privacy in a changing room. When you agree, as Paul said, to employment with a company, and the company informs you, if they don't tell you there's the camera, they don't say the camera's there, I think that changes it. But if they tell you the camera's there, and now you don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy, then I think it's perfectly legal. Another quick example is on Wall Street, in many corporate companies, they monitor the internet. They want to make sure their employees are not looking at pornography or doing or insider trading or other illegal practices, business practices. They check what they're doing. And there's a lot of case law and literature on whether or not companies can do that. One of the key factors, you have to inform the employees, and then, as Paul said, it's your choice. If the employee says, "I don't like this kind of surveillance," you're free not to work there. If they don't object, then the employer is within its rights to do it. And you're right, that would help with evidence. Absolutely.
Would the drivers be reasonable in having some type of regulation in place when the cameras can and can't be used? Like their 10-hour break. It's all hiding with the ELD. On my 10-hour break, camera shuts off.
All that could be subject.
I mean, that's something drivers would have to pursue.
Yeah, they can have subject to negotiation.
Okay.
Okay.
Get them going.
Some people.
We have a lot of them.
Well, I had a different, kind of with the camera, had one on that. We had one truck with a camera, and the guy would pull it up and bring the drivers in and go, "Oh, look what this driver's doing." That's where that turns weird, right?
Yeah, you know, we don't have all the answers right off the tip of our tongue, even though all three of us here are employment lawyers. You know, yeah, is it weird? Yeah, is there a cause of action? Maybe. You know, that's not something I've had come up, so, and I had to research, you know.
Well,
So I don't know.
It actually helped because it got passed through the thing, you know, and we're all like, oh no, you're not putting those in. Once we found out, he was just pulling up going, look, you know. and we
But you
freaked out.
consented to having the camera on you in the first place. I mean,
Yeah, we don't.
it's workplace.
Yeah.
I don't know. Depends for what purpose, I suppose.
He was just having fun.